Let me make sure all this stuff is working. Should be. Okay. Should be live right now. Need to find my live stream. Jay Coy. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. How are you? For anybody watching this back as a video, if I do keep it up as a video, obviously I won't be showing the actual Kentucky Derby. Copyright crazy. You can't show Kentucky Derby on YouTube. Only NBC and CBS, I think, actually can show the Kentucky Derby and the actual Kentucky Derby channel. So we'll have some Gallop Racer 3 races on in the background as I watch the Kentucky Derby, and I assume other people who are watching obviously may also be doing the same. I'm excited. I'm actually going to put a wager on New York Traffic. I think he's being overlooked. I think he's one of the horses in the field that can hopefully handle this distance. Obviously, we know Tiz can handle it. A lot of the horses haven't raced close to this distance. They've raced a furlong shorter. Tiz has raced 10 mile and a quarter. New York Traffic has raced close to it. So I'm liking New York Traffic here today. I think he may have a chance. So that is who I am pulling for today. I mean, I like the horse in general. I love Grays. I feel like even though he hasn't really won any of the last couple of races he's been in, he's always been a close second. So I think he's gonna be on the pace with whoever is setting the pace, which people think is going to be authentic. I think New York Traffic's going to sit right up there with him, and maybe he'll get a kick in the stretch. I think he has a possibility to have that happen. So that is who I am pulling for in today's 146th Kentucky Derby. I'm excited for. Yeah, you know, the fans not being there is different, but I mean, at the end of the day, I love the race. If you had a choice, would you want them to cancel the race just because there's no fans? It's like, I think the race should continue obviously as it is, and that's mainly what I'm in it for, just to watch the race. And I think this is going to be a really interesting Derby this year because there's, 4 or 5 horses that people are considering in the money, and then everybody else is just kind of up for grabs. So we'll see. I really want to see how Tiz the Law responds to this outside post position and the pace, because we know Tiz is not. I mean, Tiz is going to be close, to the front runners off the pace, but I don't think he's actually going to be the one setting the pace. So to see how he kicks into that third gear come turns 3 and 4 is going to be really interesting. I'm excited for this Derby. I haven't been excited for it. I love the Derbies, but this is one in particular that I've actually been more excited for compared to the previous years. Like I said, I just think it's something different about this field, and it's going to be interesting to see. Hopefully there's no, disqualifications and annoying steward, reviews that shouldn't happen, like last year's Derby. That's just still very controversial. It just, you don't want that to become a normal thing. And the stewards have been pretty bad at Churchill this weekend, making some calls, not making others. So hopefully that's not the case here for this Derby. Hopefully it's a clean race and the best horse and best jockey combination wins. So this is the 8 furlong G1 here in this game, running on the dirt. Noel Angel, I don't recall this is actually a horse in later Gallop Racer series. But like I said, I am really excited for this Derby. I'm going to go ahead and put my win bet on New York Traffic. I like New York Traffic. I think he has a chance here today. Not saying Tiz the Law doesn't. Tiz the Law on paper, on record, is obviously the best horse in the field. Like, everybody knows that. But you watched the Kentucky Oaks yesterday, you saw Gamine was hyped up in a similar way, and she couldn't handle the distance. We know Tiz the Law obviously can handle the distance from when he ran in Saratoga, but the same hype was given to Gamine, and she ends up coming in third behind Swiss Skydiver and She Dares the Devil. So I'm thinking, obviously today we could see something very similar. Tiz the Law's got all the hype coming into this race, but something could happen. We'll see how he does with competition. I don't think Tiz has been challenged at all, really, in his career, and I think this is going to be the first race he's legitimately going to be challenged. We're going to see what he's made of, because if he's able to be challenged and he's able to look those horses in the eye and continue to push past them, we know, he is definitely the real deal, and then obviously he'll be on to the Preakness to try to become a Triple Crown winner. So that's to me, that's gonna be the telltale sign here today. Marcos, what's going on, man? How are you? So I want to see how Tiz responds to the competition in this field. Like I said, I don't think he's really been challenged in any of his races so far, and obviously this is going to be, I think, the most challenging. So it'll be interesting to see how he handles the field, how he handles the pace. And we'll see what horses kick in, man. We will see what horses kick in here. But like I said, I'm going to go ahead and make my win bet for New York Traffic. There's a $10 win bet for him. Still pay pretty well if we're able to pull through with it. So let's see here. But yeah, like I said, excited for this race. I'm watching the Derby live. Awesome. I am as well. Marcos, who do you think is going to win, or who do you want to win? Actually, I should say, who do you want to win? That is the question. Who do you want to win the Derby here today? Can I do 5? Yeah. What's it? 289, I think. Yeah, I'm pulling for New York Traffic. Just going out on a whim here. I think the only thing with New York Traffic is he's able to usually stay with whomever is leading in the races, or in the race, I should say. He's always pretty much right there. It's just he hasn't shown enough to get past. So maybe I'm hoping today Paco will be able to give him that extra drive for him to get past whomever. If he doesn't, get discouraged and doesn't fall off in the stretch. But based off of his races, he always is staying close to whomever ends up winning. 3 second place efforts in the last 3 races. So I think if Paco can really find a way to get him into that extra gear, because it's going to be tough, I think New York Traffic's got a chance. I have each way on Storm the Court only because I used to ride horses with that name. Nice. I actually got to watch Storm the Court at the Ohio Derby a couple of months ago. Obviously he didn't win that, but he still looked good. So that would be cool if he actually won here today. I'm not sure if he will. Hey, is there a place to see the race free online? Carolyn, not that I know of, unfortunately. Yeah, the CBS and NBC are really kind of strict about, the Derby being anywhere else. I was looking for some places. I couldn't find any legitimate ones. So you would, if you wanted to watch it online, you would have to, I think, create like a CBS account. You could do a free 7-day trial. Just make sure you cancel it before the 7th day, and then I think you can watch it on CBS's website. But yeah, they're pretty strict about the Derby being shown anywhere else. Like, I usually watch my races on TBG, and TBG they have to concede to NBC and CBS after like race 8 on today's card, which obviously we're at the last race now. But after race 8 on TBG, they couldn't even show the races from Churchill anymore. So you like New York Traffic? Yeah, I like New York player. I like New York Max player, of course. Tiz deserves to be the favorite. Thanks, I've looked everywhere. Yeah, it's a bummer, honestly. That's just the way CBS and NBC are. They're just really strict about their sporting events, especially the Derby. It should be a good race. I'm excited. Like I said, I'm pulling for New York Traffic here. Hopefully he can pull off the win. As long as it's a good, clean race, I just don't want any disqualifications, no steward inquiries. I think most of us don't want any of that, because that just sucks all of the fun and the enjoyment out of the race. I think works for me in Australia without an account. Really? Interesting. Which link are you talking about? By the way, I didn't ask actually. I didn't ask you which link. I meant to ask you which link you're referring to. Yeah, this should be a good race. It should be a really good race. I'm hoping. Anybody watched the Kentucky Oaks yesterday? The Kentucky, that was a really good race. I kind of figured it was. For me in horse racing, especially with these bigger races, I like when there's a couple of variables that can kind of mix up the potential result and ending, giving you a really exciting race. Kentucky Oaks was really solid yesterday. Gamine stayed up there, but clearly she couldn't handle 2 turns. She couldn't run that distance. So she dares a double. It's so funny. They were talking about her literally 2 minutes before she got in the gate, saying, "Oh, she was over eager. She was too excited. She wasn't going to be able to calm down." And yeah, she calmed down all right. She won the freaking Kentucky Oaks. Huge upset. So I saw the replay a few times. Nice. Yeah. Hello, I'm Argentinian here. Can you see KD 20? KD 20? Kentucky Derby 20? I can't actually post it on YouTube. It's copyright and all that stuff. Derby's about to start. Didn't watch the Oaks live. Was watching the Aussie races at American Moon Valley. Okay, I see. Yeah, and the record. Exactly. Set the record, too. It's one thing for what you would consider a long shot to win. It's another thing for that long shot to set the record and beat the heavy favorite, which was Gamine. Like, people weren't really giving the next closest horse people were trying to give a chance was Swiss Skydiver, and still majority of the public was just like, she doesn't have a chance. Gamine's too strong. I'm like, this is horse racing. It doesn't matter how good a horse looks on paper. When it comes to race day, anything could happen. Like I said, I got my money on New York Traffic, so this is gonna be exciting. I cannot wait. Here we go. Okay, who broke clean? New York Traffic blow kind of went into, was that 1,000 words? But he's going right to the front. Tiz the Law is right up there with him as well. I wonder if they're not gonna call that, are they? This 1,000 words got completely squeezed out there, and he is at the very back. I wonder if they're gonna call an inquiry on that. The way Churchill is, I wouldn't be surprised. Are they going to call New York Traffic for that interference? Because, golly, he squeezed 1,000 words out really big. Authentic setting the pace as we predicted. Stormed the courts up there. New York Traffic settling in. Tiz the Law right up there with him. One of my old favorites. I remember one at 8 years old. Shut a lot of people who thought that he was finished. Yep. 1,000 words didn't get scratched. It was King Guillermo and another horse. I'm pretty sure. Was 1,000 words a late scratch? It was only 2 scratches. I know King Guillermo was one of them, and then the other horse was like, it was from post position 1 or 3. 1,000 words is scratched, is he? Was he a late scratch? Hold on, who am I thinking of? Oh, 1,000 words was scratched. So which horse? Honor AP. Okay, yeah, 1,000 words is a late scratch. I forgot. I totally forgot. Okay, so Tiz the Law is up there with Authentic. Yeah, he's scratching the paddock up. It was a late scratch. So Tiz is still battling up there. I think New York Traffic is done. Authentic is still going. Who is that closing in? No way. Authentic gate the wire? Almost gate the wire? Are you kidding me? Bobby V gets another Derby winner. Holy crap. Authentic almost gate the wire. Wow. Carolyn, thanks. I appreciate it. I totally forgot. I actually left my room literally for like a couple of minutes just to get some water and use the restroom. I guess when 1,000 words got scratched, I wasn't even paying attention. because they were still in the paddock at that time, and then I wasn't really looking at them going to the gate until I literally turned on the stream, or I got back to my computer. Did not see that coming. Man, Authentic, almost gate to wire. I mean, pretty much. That's incredible. That is incredible. I mean, Tiz the Law was right there with him. Tiz the Law was right there with him. He was not going away. New York, he definitely tired out. That was one thing people mentioned. They were like, yeah, he'll probably have the... Wait a second. Yeah, I mean, 1.25 miles for a lot of horses is going to be a challenge, like, for sure. I thought he would handle the distance better, to be honest, being that he ran... what did he run? He ran close to that. It wasn't until... it wasn't in... it was all the way back in March. Man, what a race from Authentic, though. Tiz the Law was right there with him. So who won? Kiana? Authentic won. Thought New York Traffic could not. What do you mean, Marcos? Yeah, Authentic won. That's a good win. That's a really good win for Authentic. And you can't even... I don't think there's anything bad to say about Tiz. You know what I mean? Because Authentic has been talked about a lot. And he's looked solid. I mean, really. He's looked solid. And people, I mean, the pace setting, I think, is what made a difference. And I talked about it earlier for whoever was here. I mentioned it. I said the only thing with Tiz is how is he going to respond to being challenged? You know? Obviously, with Authentic setting the pace, Tiz would have to respond to that. And Authentic is no joke when it comes to being a pace setter. So, I mean, Tiz, he stayed with him, though. He stayed with him till the end. He just couldn't find that extra gear to get past him. I think if that's any other horse, Tiz is blowing past him, clearly. But, you know, with Authentic, man, that's... Oh, okay, I got you, Marcos. Yeah, yeah, that was one thing I was worried about. I was worried if he couldn't keep up with the pace, he would start to drop out. And that's definitely what happened. But what a race, what a win for Authentic, man. And like I said, you can't even you don't take anything away from Tiz the Law. You still pretty much ran with him the entire race. Wow. John Velasquez, third career Kentucky Derby win. It's cursed in the last 6 races. The favorite hasn't won their races. Yeah, I noticed that. I noticed that for sure. I always thought this race was going to be kind of... I mean, this race could have been anything goes, anything happens. I think that's the only thing with horse racing. Sometimes people get so reliant on the favorites, and it's like, it's not... Obviously, it makes sense from a, you know, statistical perspective and a record perspective, but you can't always just go with the favorite in every race, especially in big races like this. Depending on the field, and this was a field that still had some contenders, clearly, like Authentic. 1,000 Words, I'm sure, would have been a contender as well if he was in the race. King Guillermo possibly as well was another horse. They really thought King Guillermo was going to be the pace setter if he was still in with that early speed. So yeah, I don't think people should make certain races like these like such sure things. It's like you never know. The horse can be dominant, of course. It's those rare cases when the favorites obviously pull through and they win, but I don't like speaking in just complete certainties when it comes to horse racing. I think that's kind of goofy. Especially for bigger races. Like I said, if you're talking about, you know, races that obviously are not too big, man, the field is relatively weak in terms of competition, okay, but in a field where you're talking about, what, the best 3-year-olds, arguably, it's like, you got to have a little flexibility and that anything can happen. I always say that's why we run the race. Exactly. That is why we run the race. You know what I mean? So everyone be well. Peace. See ya. Have a good one, Chris. Thanks for stopping by, my friend. I put $100 on New York Traffic. Did you really, Marcos? I like the horse. I wasn't gonna put $100 on him though. I mean, I usually don't bet that high for win bets, anyways. I don't bet that high in general, honestly. If I'm betting that high, I'm doing that on like a really exotic. I'm doing that on my pick fours, pick fives, or pick sixes. Usually, you got more coverage. Place that much money on a win bet and you lose. I mean, that's just it. You're just out of that money. That's a really impressive win for Authentic when you think about it. Like I said, almost going gate to wire and holding off Tiz the Law, which again was getting so much hype. And it's not to say he didn't deserve the hype, because his performances and his record obviously speaks volumes. But it's like people were speaking about Tiz the Law as if he was the only greatest horse in the entire field. You know, I thought Authentic was getting some love here and there, but I still felt like people were kind of putting him down a little bit. I mean, whether you like the guy or not, it's a Bob Baffert horse. I don't think you can ever count out a Bob Baffert horse. Not in the Derby. That's just that was a solid race, man. That was a solid race. So what happens here with Tiz? Obviously, Triple Crown is out of the question. The Preakness is still going to be happening next month. I mean, is Tiz going to be done after this year? I can't imagine. I know they usually do that with these 3-year-olds, especially if they run in the Derby. They usually don't run. Most of them don't continue to run past 3 years old. They just retire them to sire, and just stud it out, so to speak. But I would like to see Tiz race more, because most of his races were so easy and he dominated. This is obviously his most challenging race all season. We'll see what happens in the Preakness. It would just kind of be a bummer if that was the end of his career. It's like, to really see what type of horse he would be, past a couple of races. When you think he hasn't raced a lot, naturally, I would like to see him race more. He should go for the Breeders' or Pegasus. Yeah, I hope they race him more. I really do. I have no issues with Tiz the Law. I like him. He's a strong horse. I want to see him race more, quite frankly. I want to see him race more. I want to see him continue to race, great competition as well. He clearly needs to be challenged. He was able to breeze through those races that he won because, let's just be honest, he wasn't challenged. There was no other horses in those fields that could have compete. Those are at times, I say, when you completely rely on the favorite for the most part. Like I said, a race where there's no competition. But in today's Derby, there were a couple of horses, obviously, that could rival. But that's a good win for Authentic. So no Triple Crown in 2020. I wonder what will happen in 2021. A heavy favorite paying 140 for the win. Got beaten at Randwood yesterday. Oh, man. Paying 140? Yuck. 140 for the win. Yuck, yuck, yuck. That's a really good win for Authentic. It's a really good win. Does anybody know Bob Baffert's training methods? I mean, we know obviously he's grown up around horses. He used to be a jockey himself. Like, what are his training methods? What does he do to always be in a position to put out some of the best horses we've seen in the sport in I don't know how many years. I mean, decades at this point. What does he do? And obviously, I'm assuming most people don't know. If everybody knew, everybody would probably try to mimic it, and he probably wouldn't be as successful as he's been. Whatever he does, it works. His horses are strong. They're healthy. Most of them, I should say. Yeah, to have a fight. Yeah, Authentic reminds me of a horse named Personal Ballet in Gallop Racer 2004. It gets to the lead and just doesn't stop. Really? Personal Ballet? Huh. I don't recall hearing that horse. Or seeing that horse while playing 2004. Did you actually own Lightning Flash? Did you own that horse, Personal Ballet? Or, I mean, did you have a chance to ride it? Or was it a horse you always just kind of competed against in your season mode? Yeah, I guess it's when you think about it realistically, based off of the fact that Authentic was always being looked at for being the pace setter and being quick on it, it's not surprising that he stayed in the lead at least for a majority of the race. The stretch was obviously going to be the deal breaker, but he finished strong. I felt like he looked much stronger today, clearly, than he looked in some of his previous races, and that's taking nothing away from him. And I don't know if he was more motivated because Tiz was pretty much right on his butt for, at least half of the race. Tiz is a tough horse. Tiz is still a tough horse. I had personal ballot, but if you're not good at front runners, it'll be hell for you. Yeah. I'm good with front runners. I just don't like them that much. You guys know the deal. Like Sedate Ruler, one of my favorite horses in the game. He was a front runner, and we dominated with him. Obviously until we retired him. So I can run front runners. I just don't like them that much. Depends on the horse. It really depends on the horse. There are a couple of horses in the Gallop Racer series that are front runners that I'm okay with because they just make it so easy. There are other horses that are a little bit difficult, depending on if they have a temper or not. Whether their stay is good, their response, all those things to me affect whether or not I like front runners. But if you got a front runner that's pretty calm, mild-tempered, responds very well and quickly to you, then yeah, I don't mind front runners. Like I said, Sedate Ruler is one of those horses. Sedate was a horse that I didn't have to do a whole lot with as a front runner, and we were able to obviously dominate and do fantastic with him. So I can work with the front runners. It's just not a personal preference, but yeah, I can certainly work with them. I'm just wondering, what made them change horses from game to game? In terms of like what horses they would put in a game. Is Sedate Ruler in this game? Ruby Dooby Doo is still in here? Cool. Or is in here, I should say. I never even knew. I don't think Sedate Ruler's in this game. Probably not. It's great to have. It's a great horse to have breeding wise and racing wise. They gave me my first 99 speed, 99 stamina horse. Nice. I can go first and second and third. You need to unlock this horse though. It's really easy to race. How do you unlock it? Lightning Flash. That sounds fantastic. I can't wait till I get my first one. $1 super paid $7,000, and the $1 try paid $1,000. Like, holy cow. Oh, because Mr. Big News, 46-1 long shot finishes in third. Golly. $7,000, $8,000 super. Oh man, that's crazy. Bobby B with another win. I like Bob Baffert. I don't know why people liked it. I don't know why people dislike the guy. He's not arrogant. He's not arrogant. He's not cocky. He loves all of his horses. He loves what he does. I don't understand what people don't like about Bob. Besides the fact that obviously he's one of the most winningest trainers of all time, especially in North America. But you're like, oh, I hate Bob Baffert. I'm like, why? I just hate him. He wins. I'm like, the guy's a pretty chill and humble dude from what I know. I haven't really, as far as people behind the scenes that have worked with him, I haven't heard anybody really say anything bad about Bob. I mean, he seems like a pretty humble, down-to-earth guy. You know what I mean? I don't know why people don't like him. You have to win the Dream Series Sprint, I believe. Huh. Spoiler alert, in an episode that's coming out Sunday? No. Monday, actually. I got an invitation to the GWS, so I was able to participate in those races, and I think we did win the sprint with Arctic Crop. That's just a spoiler for the episode coming up. But I'm pretty sure I won that one. I won that or another one. I think it was a sprint. So if I won that, that means I should get that horse, right? They say he cheats. What's their definition of cheating? Are they saying he's dosing his horses? Like what? Because I know there's a lot of things that go around when it comes to obviously horses doing well and then trainers and owners, dosing them up and all this stuff. Is that what it revolves around? I mean, that's the only thing that would apply. Use performance enhancing drugs, yeah, dosing them up. Yeah, I mean, I'll never say never. I suppose it could be a thing, but I feel like people say that about any trainer and owner that has a really good record with winning with horses. I feel like that's always the go-to. It's like anytime there's an owner and a trainer that's able to win pretty frequently in some of the big races, and always usually has good horses, that always seems to be the narrative. And like I said, I'm not saying that is not the case. I don't know per se, but I feel like that's always people's go-to when there's a successful trainer or owner in the sport. It's like, come on, are we really just going to accuse everybody that's good of cheating? That just, I don't know. I think after a certain point it gets kind of ridiculous. You know, especially if it's not been proven. It's a completely different thing comparing that to something like, some of you probably don't watch American football, but I'm sure you guys have heard of Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. They were actually caught cheating. It totally makes sense. But just accusing someone of cheating because they're successful, that's just kind of like, you just kind of come off like a hater at the end of the day. Bob turned on quarter horse racing. Yeah, I know about that. When you say turned on quarter horse racing, like, what is your personal opinion or thoughts on why you say you think he turned on quarter horse racing? In terms of, like, obviously him turning his back kind of on his roots, right? Because he, grew up and started in quarter horse racing, and then he obviously drifted away from that. What is your thoughts to why he did that? Because I've seen some mixed comments. Some people are saying, he thinks he's better than that. Some people are saying it's because he thinks quarter horse racing is dangerous. What do you think? You probably race in the Sunset Beach Dream Cup. I believe you have to win the Dream Series Sky Ocean Sprint. Okay, I gotcha. I follow. American racing has a reputation to be known for drugging. Lasix is used all the time there, but illegal everywhere else. Yep, that is true. It's very true. I'm not denouncing any of that. It's just, is it actually happening with certain trainers and owners? Like, who got not the horse that got disqualified, but who was, I'm completely drawing blanks on the horse's name. In last year's Derby, that was actually confirmed. His trainer and owner or whomever, they were actually confirmed to be dosing that horse up, and they had to go through this thing. That horse raced in the Dubai Cup as well, I think. I just can't remember its name for the life of me. Maximum security, yeah. That's what I mean when I talk about when people make accusations and there's actually proof of these things happening with a particular horse or trainer or owner. I'm more traditional, I guess, old school. I'm kind of like proof, evidence, because otherwise it's just like, I mean, if you go down that road, where does it stop, He's laughing at it. Oh, okay, that's what you mean by turned. Yeah, I get that. I mean, I like quarter horse racing. I do, but I don't know. It's laughing at it. Would you Huh? What am I trying to say? Like I said, I like quarter horse racing. Yeah, I really do. I don't know why that's so weird. I don't know why he would do that. Like I said, being that that's where he grew up, and that's where he learned about the business in general. I mean, no doubt, quarter horse racing is not, in terms of popularity, it's not up there compared to obviously the other forms of racing. I think we all know that. I mean, casual fans watch the Kentucky Derby and barely know about horse racing. There's no way, no fan that, no casual person, most casual people don't know about harness racing or quarter horse racing. You know what I mean? Like I said, most people tune into the Derby, they're super casuals. They don't know much about horse racing at all. So it's just one of those things. It's just kind of a popularity thing, which, I mean, it doesn't matter to me. I like all forms, so it is what it is. Happens world over. In Australia, one of our most prominent racing was stripped of G1 win because he ran it with drugs in the system. Tragic. New York Traffic came 8th. Yep. Wasn't a good run for Authentic, though. Tizalaw was up there. Oh, yeah, I forgot to suggest this to you. When you first get 2-year-old to my horse, you're able to save the horse and then go in free mode and find out. Oh, yeah, Lightning Flash. I figured that out in the last episode. Basic Blue Gaming posted that in one of his episodes, and that's what I figured it out. Ali, hello. But yeah, I did figure that out. I never knew that was a thing. I asked him, I'm like, how do you guys figure this stuff out about the game? Because this isn't stuff that's obviously in the manual or anything legit. Like, obviously, you would have had to just been playing the game for forever and just probably playing around with things and figured it out. Because I'm like, I would have never thought of doing that. I never really thought about the whole registering original horses thing. Like, I know you could. I never got excited about it. I thought you could only register, like, one horse, and that was it. I didn't realize you could register, like, a number of your original horses. So now I'm, like, excited to do that, put my originals in races, and just kind of see how they compete against each other. But I was always under the impression you can only register one original horse. That's why I never cared about it or looked into it. We don't even have quarter horse racing in Australia. We race camels, though. Half feral camels. Really? I never knew that. The quarter horse racing I did know. The camels, that's very interesting. I never knew about that. That is very, very, very interesting. Yeah, it's a little interesting that he would kind of turn his nose up to quarter horse racing, considering that's where he started. So I could get why people wouldn't like him from that perspective, because that's kind of like not cool. Hold on a second, guys. Alright guys, bear with me. I have to step out for a second, literally like a second, take like 2 or 3 minutes. I'll still be live here for a little bit, just talk horse racing in general with you guys. I'm not doing any, we're not playing season mode in Gallop Racer 3 today. Just watch a race here. So, for all of you that watch the Derby, what are your thoughts? Are you surprised with Authentic's win? Marco, see ya. Have a good one. Appreciate you stopping by, friend. What's the longest race in this game? Is it the King Cup Autumn? 16 furlongs? Probably. Let's see. Oh. G2 going 16 furlongs. Oh, never mind. Welcome back. So, Second Death is the favorite in this G2 race. Deer Knight, Cool Master, Absurd Risks, Social Cheap, some other good horses. Social Cheap's a long shot, though. Field of 12. See how it goes. Stepping out, guys. Right quick. I shall be back. Do not go anywhere. When? Yeah, that's cool.
Derek went to get us Charlie.
Okay. Somewhere. You find it's new and exciting. It's like playing around with the game. I know mares are going to die in the barn. When and if my mares are going to die in the barn. So I 1 and 2. A Pharaoh, I don't want to. I've had 2 front runners throw out a closer. Wow. All I gotta do is make sure all my mares will conceive from 4 or 5, just so I get my 8 horses every year. 8 horses a year. That's a lot. I'm assuming there's a reason for that. I wouldn't know, obviously, but why 8 horses a year? Joe Talamo still looking for a Derby win? Yeah. Don't know if he'll get one. Hopefully, maybe. I like Joe. I like a lot of people in the sport, at least in North America. There's not too many people I don't have any major issues with. Yeah, I really enjoyed this Derby too. I really did. And me, I always kind of like I like sometimes when the favorites don't win. It's a little bit more exciting, you know. Just for me personally. That's with horse racing, with sports. I always like when a horse or a team that's not necessarily, you know, what people would consider the favorite. I like when those teams, horses win. It's a little bit different. Johnny B for the win. Thing about the camel. It is so weird watching hockey with like nobody at all in the stands. It's just like watching practice. So weird. You won your bet for $100. Who'd you bet on, Marcos? Didn't you say you bet on New York traffic? The jockeys don't control them. They just hang on them and they hope they make it to the end. Golly. That's not an adrenaline rush. I don't know what it is. Oh, that's kind of funny. I don't think I could be so brave to do that. I consider myself an adrenaline junkie, but that's one of those things I probably would not do. I'm just going to do a race here. Screaming the entire stretch. That was a good race. It was a really good race. At the end of the day, that's all I hope for. Just good horse races. Even if I'm betting and horse I bet on doesn't win, as long as it's still a good race, I'm still okay. In all honesty. And that was a good race. Hats off to Authentic and Tis the Law. And I already forgot the name of the horse that came third. The long shot going off at 46-1. Well, for me, what I'm trying to get out of this game is the perfect horse with all 90 stats and the best abilities possible, depending on their position. Ah, gotcha. Okay. Honor AP was your bet? Where did he finish, actually? Okay, Honor AP came fourth. Max Player came fifth. Well, 3 favorites came in the top 5. And when I say favorites, I mean the 3 horses that obviously had the, you know, the best odds. Yeah, same here. As long as all the horses finish safe and sound, yeah, that's pretty much me. No doubt. So many horses got scratched this year. It was crazy. Yeah, it's unusual for that many horses to get scratched in the Derby. Like what, 3? No, more than that. Or is it just the 3? It was 1,000 Words, King Guillermo, and the other horse I'm drawing blanks on. Let me see. 1, 2. 'Cause I thought originally it was supposed to be a 20 horse field, and then obviously at the post draw it got narrowed down to 18, and then 3 horses scratched. So technically, yeah, only 15 obviously ran out of 20. I could have. I lost one with trapping 1 because I bet. Oh, you bet a person you knew. Nice, smart stuff. So many hours. So many hours. That's the only thing I've played Gallop Racer 2004 that much, even though I have played it a lot, but in comparison to you guys, I don't think I've played it nearly half as much, in all honesty. Finnick the Fierce, yeah, that one too. Finnick the Fierce, that's the one I got scratched. I wish Guillermo didn't, I wish he was okay, because I think he would have been interesting to be. I think he definitely would have been up there on the pace with Authentic, so that would have made things a little bit more interesting for sure. Especially from gate position 6, I think he would have gone straight to the front. Should be a classic. Should be a good classic this year. Yeah. Who's racing in the Preakness? Is it Gamine or Swiss Skydiver? I know they said one of them from the Kentucky Oaks is going to be in the Preakness. I just can't remember which one. Was it one of those two? They were talking about it during the Oaks. I just can't remember which horse. When are we going to learn that when a Bob Bapper horse gets a bad jump, it doesn't mean they're out of the race? First arrogant, now authentic. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I actually don't know. Lightning. You would think if people have been watching horse racing for a while, they would kind of know that by now, and it still seems like it ends up being forgotten. Maybe she dares the devil? Maybe. Can't remember. Let me see if I can actually look it up. But yeah. Bad start does not mean the end of the race for all the horses. Especially if they're a Bob Baffert horse. Like, no doubt. Freaking loud motorcycles, man. They're so obnoxious. I check the news every day to see if Winks had her fall. Does she yet? Yeah, who's going to be in the Preakness this year? Besides Tiz and whomever that... Drawing blanks is going to bother me now. I can't remember what horse they were talking about. One thing I've never understood is why they have run the Preakness and the Derby so close to each other in previous years. Watching hockey, and I know nothing about it. I actually know a little bit of hockey. I like hockey. I don't watch it as much as I used to. I like a lot of sports. There's not really too many sports I dislike. Do you think the racetrack should listen to Randy Moss and change the dates for the Preakness and the Belmont? Indefinitely change the dates, or just for... I mean, all honesty, I've never understood the purpose of running the Derby and then the Preakness literally 2 weeks afterwards. I've never understood that. I mean, personally speaking, I like having the races spaced out. You know, I think it gives all horses a chance to get into those races, as opposed to, like I said, Derby and Preakness, you know, back to back pretty much initially. Some owners literally kept their horses out of the Derby or the Preakness because of one or the other. You know what I mean? Some, not all, but I don't know. I like the fact that they're spread out, personally. I mean, I would like if they were spread out, I should say. Like, the way things were done this year, you know, obviously you keep the Derby in May, you change the Belmont and the Preakness. I wouldn't mind it. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. She's due tomorrow, now in October, so anytime now. Awesome. Well, hopefully, thing goes well with that. I feel the Preakness is the weakest of the three. Yeah, I mean, it definitely is. There's no doubt. There's definitely no doubt about that. But yeah, I think the races should be split. I think there should at least be a couple of months in between. Kind of like how they've done it this year, with the exception that the Preakness is happening a month from now. But at least it's a month from now. Happening 2 weeks after the Derby, I've never been a fan of that, you know. But like I said, Derby in May, you can still run the Belmont when you run the Belmont, and I think instead you run the Preakness in October or September. I don't see the issue with that, personally. You know? I don't see why anybody would have any objections to that. You know, people talk about not wanting to run horses in big races back to back, but it's like it's been happening for a while. Not that I've been a fan of it. I'm just saying, like, people talk about it all the time. Oh, this horse didn't run that well because it just ran back to back in this race and that race. Like, I get tired of hearing that as an excuse, you know, if per se a horse loses or something or whatever. It's just like, well, why don't we eliminate from the equation in general? Like, I'm pretty sure it would be better for the horses to have more space in between bigger races, you know, to be healthy and to obviously be in top shape. I don't understand what argument could be made for why it would make sense to keep such big races so close to each other. Was gutted. Arctic Crop is 102 for turf in this game. Yeah, Arctic Crop is a beast. That's why I got him in a Gallop Racer 2004, because he was so good in this game. And I'm barely playing. I'm not even like paying attention anyways right now. I am not paying attention. Blues Breeze, another horse we got in Gallop Racer 2004. Breeders' Cup is in November. I'm excited for the Breeders' Cup this year. Was gutted when Atlantic Jewel died after delivering her just by a colt. Yeah, that's always sad. I hate when that happens. Mares and breeding. Or I should say during their delivery. It's unfortunate, man. It's really sad. I can't think about it too much. Can't, because the Breeders' Cup is usually in October, so they have to tighten the Triple Crown schedule, basically. Yeah, I know, but it's like you could still change the date. If you don't put it in October, okay, put it at a different point. Derby in May, Belmont in... Like I said, the Belmont can stay where it's at, and then you just run the Preakness between Breeders' Cup and the Belmont. You just find the median at that point. It still would be enough time, personally speaking. But I get it. It's been tradition, but like I said, it's a tradition I haven't been a fan of. I think it's kind of goofy. Derby is usually May 2nd, right? Preakness will be, you know, or actually the first Saturday in May, whatever the date that is. Preakness is 2 weeks after that, and then the Belmont is basically 3 weeks after that. It's just like you're basically getting the biggest spectacle, one of the biggest spectacles in horse racing done so quickly. And then it's a long way off until the Breeders' Cup, really, I would say, as far as what people are looking forward to. I think if you spread it out, you kind of keep... I think you keep a consistency of that excitement over time, you know, as opposed to just getting the Triple Crown done in a month, and then it's like nobody really cares about anything until the Breeders' Cup, you know. I would personally like to look forward to a big race every 2 months, as opposed to getting everything done in a month, and then I'm kind of like, there's great races in between, obviously the end of the Triple Crown and then Breeders' Cup, but let's be honest, you know. Depending on, I guess, what circuits you like and what horse racing you're a fan of in terms of your country specifically. It's like, just really nothing to talk about. Nothing majorly, I should say, to talk about after the Triple Crown ends until the Breeders' Cup. think I think it should at least to greatest and Triple Crown. I feel like we need a horse racing association. I know it won't happen, but things will probably run. Yeah, that's one thing I've always kind of wished. And like you said, I don't think it'll happen just because of politics and just how things have been. Just seems like that's not something they want to have happen. You know, it still kind of seems like it's a club, so to speak. But yeah, I just think if you spread out the Triple Crown, I just don't see an issue with it. Breeders' Cup is always going to stay where it's at. You can just spread out the Triple Crown between May and the Breeders' Cup. I don't think that's honestly that hard to do. In reality, turf racing is easier on horses. Yeah, this is true. It's not like the old days. Horses way back then would race multiple times a week or even multiple times a day. Horses today can't handle it. More speed and less stamina. Yeah. I mean, I personally don't like the idea of horses racing too much back to back. I do it in the video games just because it's a freaking video game. I don't really like it in reality. I don't like horses racing back to back. I know they're powerful, strong creatures, but it's kind of been evident that racing horses too much leads to injury or something at some point. So I've never been. That's why I don't like the way the Triple Crown is set up, because those are 3 very tough races, you know. And granted, fortunately, we haven't had anything major obviously happen with any horses that have participated, but I still just, like I said, I still just don't like the idea of horses racing so much, so quickly. Like I said, that we all know how powerful and how great they are. I'm concerned about them. I just don't like the idea of just racing them into the ground so much and so often. I just don't think that's really putting the horse's health into consideration, regardless of how great of conditioning and fitness is in. I still think having an adequate amount of time in between races, especially for thoroughbreds. Harness horse racing is kind of different, but I think for thoroughbreds, they deserve more time in between races. I don't like the idea of just having them race so much back to back, personally. 3-year-old isn't even, that's also a thing. Like, I know that's not going to change. I mean, they're running them at 2 years old, but they're still not even fully developed at 3 years old either. So it's some things like I definitely wish would change. Being just a huge fan of the sport most of my life, there are definitely some things I think that need to change. Whether or not they will is the question, but I definitely think some things need to change because, like you said, I mean, they're still basically running them as, I don't want to say babies, but as children, teens. You know, when you compare it just to the human lifespan, they're basically running these horses as teens. You know, they're not even fully developed. You know, as great as, like I said, some of these 2 and 3 year olds are, it's still a lot of pressure on their joints and their bones, just everything. You know, personally, I don't like the racing of 2 year olds. They're too young for such. Yeah, I don't like the 2 year old racing scene at all, honestly. And there are some amazing 2 year olds. I think it's too young. 3 is pushing it, but like I said, I think 3 has. I don't think they're going to change that. But 2 years old is just way too young, in my opinion. A lot can still happen in 1 year of development, and like I said, I don't think they're going to, shy away from 3 year olds. Obviously, especially with the Derby and all the big races. I don't think they're going to shy away from that ever, but starting them as 2 year olds, I'm not a fan of it. I'm not. I never have been. Nah, if you were the trainer of Authentic and 'Tis the Law, would you rather put them in the Preakness or wait until the breeders? At this point, I would prefer the breeders. I feel like the Preakness is I feel like people only care about the Preakness when there's a potential Triple Crown winner. 'Tis the Law lost today, so no Triple Crown. I really don't care about the Preakness. I'm going to be excited to watch, but like to me, there's no hype around the Preakness because I feel like the hype around the Preakness has always been based off of what's happened in the Derby. Okay, and depending on if that horse won in the Derby, they win in the Preakness, then they can obviously win in Belmont for the Triple Crown. But since obviously there's going to be no Triple Crown this year, I would personally, if it was me, Lightning, I would save one of those horses for the Breeders' Cup. I think there's much more prestige and glory around that than the Preakness. I mean, come on, let's be honest. Does anybody really care about the Preakness that there's no Triple Crown? I don't think most people care about the Preakness if there's not a horse that can is not if there's not a horse that's on the verge of becoming a Triple Crown winner. Like, I never think about, oh, I can't wait to watch the Preakness, even though I do enjoy it. It's just not one of those races that pops up in my mind. Belmont, of course, because that is the ending of what could be a Triple Crown deciding winner. But the Preakness, it's always dependent on the Derby. And like I said, if a horse wins the Derby that may not even race in the Preakness, which has happened or whatever in some years, and it's like, don't really care about the Preakness. I would much rather save one of those two for the Breeders' Cup. You know what I mean? But I get it. The Preakness is a part of that Triple Crown phenomenon. But like I said, I feel like when there's not going to be a Triple Crown winner, the Preakness is just it's just another big G1 race, honestly. Horses live 30 plus years, and most racehorses are done by the time they're 6. Yeah. This is true. But yeah, like I said, Preakness and also the Preakness has in recent years has just been a really bad race weather-wise. Like, half of the races have been unwatchable, so I'm just kind of turned off at the Preakness at this point, especially if there's not going to be a Triple Crown winner. I'm just kind of like, okay, don't really care. And this year, having the race run in October should hopefully be nice weather-wise. But yeah, I've never really cared for the Preakness unless there was a potential Triple Crown winner on the rise. Since we don't have that, I'm looking more forward to the Breeders' Cup, especially with all the different race varieties that happen in the Breeders' Cup in general. That's also why I like it more. You know what I mean? Preakness is there for a reason. It's there for a reason, but it doesn't mean it's an exciting race. I mean, Marcos, are you saying you look forward to the Preakness every year if there's not a potential Triple Crown winner? I don't think most people do. I think you're lying if you say you look forward to the Preakness even if there isn't a Triple Crown winner. I think a majority, I'm just saying a majority, I think a majority of fans don't really care for the Preakness if there's not going to be a potential Triple Crown winner to come out of that'll obviously go to the Belmont. You know what I mean? I could be wrong, but talking to people and just being around people in the sport, that's kind of the notion I get. I don't think many people think about the Preakness that there's, like I said, no horse that can go on to Belmont and potentially win that crown. In all honesty. Like I said, at least the Breeders' Cup, there's several different races for different, groups, for dirt, turf, whatever. Like I said, there's a variety for the Breeders' Cup. I think there's much more surrounding that, as opposed to, let's be honest, if the Preakness wasn't a part of the Triple Crown, nobody would care about it. It would just be another regular G1 race, Nobody would honestly care about the Preakness if it wasn't part of the Triple Crown. But like I said, I'm still going to look forward to it this year, especially if which horse did they mention was running in the Preakness? Was it She Dares the Devil, Gamine, or Swiss Skydiver? They said one of those three was entering the Preakness this year. I cannot remember at all. I'm just drawing complete blanks. That is one reason I'm excited this year, just to see those girls run against the boys. But that's it. How's watch horse racing in Asia? I'm not able to watch because I can't get TVG because of Woodbine. Really? Because that's where I watch that's where I watch horse racing in Asia. I don't know anywhere else to watch it. That's interesting. I'm surprised they don't allow you to do that. That's kind of weird. That's kind of strange. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Swiss Skydiver, yeah. I thought it was her too. But yeah, that is one reason I'm excited for it this year. Just like I said, just to see how she'll perform. Obviously, since she did finish behind. She was up there with She Dares a Devil. The races were kind of ran similar. The Oaks and the Derby. She Dares a Devil pulled out. Swiss Skydiver stayed with her. Gamine dropped back. Only difference is obviously for the Derby, Tiz the Law stayed up there with Authentic. Obviously, Tiz was the favorite here. Gamine was the favorite yesterday. She ended up finishing third, and obviously she wasn't able to keep up with Swiss and She Dares a Devil. But yeah, I'll be excited to see Swiss run against the boys and whoever else may be in that race. So this year's Preakness, I'm more excited for just because of that aspect alone. In certain years, just depending on the horses in the field, it's like, and like I said, if it's not a Triple Crown potential as well, that takes some excitement out of it. But I think this year should be pretty fun. I mean, they haven't disappointed. I don't think the races this year have disappointed, really, as far as Triple Crown wise. Today's Derby was really enjoyable. The Belmont was obviously running a shorter distance, and Tiz pretty much dominated that. I enjoyed the Kentucky Oaks, especially. Like I said, She Dares a Devil. That was a huge upset. And Swiss Skydiver looked strong too. I feel like people, again, weren't giving her as much credit as I thought she deserved. They're kind of like, oh, she has no chance. Literally, if you will go on videos, you'll see comments, Swiss Skydiver had no chance. She has no chance. I'm like, why do people speak like this? I don't get it. In horse racing of all things, where there's nothing that's 100% certain unless somebody is blatantly cheating, why would you ever speak in such certainty? It doesn't make sense to me. She was just tired, that's why? Well, yeah, I mean, that's part of racing in general. You gotta have the endurance. No crap, she was tired. She's not used to running 2 turns. That's why I wasn't completely sold that she was gonna win the race. I'm like, you people realize she's not used to running 2 turns. She hasn't really ran this distance. Like, that fatigue could come into play, and clearly it did. She gassed out. She didn't have a bad race, but like I said, she wasn't used to running that distance and having to do with those 2 turns. She's definitely a faster horse for shorter distances. We know, I don't think anybody can really compete with her at a shorter distance, but running a longer distance clearly was an issue for her. Naturally. That was my whole thing. I'm just like, why is nobody talking about that? It's just like people didn't want to really play that up at all. Just because she is such a great horse, I should say. She's such a great horse, and her record was phenomenal. People were completely disregarding the distance. It's like, you can't do that, man. You cannot do that at all. She ran 20 days before the Oaks. You're talking about her actual fatigue in terms of, like, her running the last time she ran before the Oaks. Yeah. What I said still stands. She couldn't handle the distance, clearly. She did tire out, and she was tired beforehand. I think even giving her, I don't know if giving her more rest would have helped. Because again, one thing I think people forget about horse racing is sometimes when horses are challenged, even if they're good horses, they don't respond well. Every favorite doesn't respond well to challenges, you know what I mean? Sometimes they don't. And depending on who's setting the pace as well, that's also a thing. It was the one thing I was thinking about. I'm like, yeah, she's running this kind of close, obviously. But again, she never ran that distance too. You can give a horse all the time in the world. If they're not used to running a certain distance, it doesn't matter how much time they have off. They still may not perform that great, you know? They still got to be able to run the distance, depending on what it is. Yeah, Marcos, that's what I'm looking forward to. I still like Gamine. I still like her. I have no issues like with her at all. In fact, it's like people just to stay honest when it comes to their wagering and their picks. Like I said, people were saying no other horses had a chance at all. It's like, and I get it. Most of the girls in that race, I mean, probably weren't going to have a chance. And clearly they didn't. But She Dares a Devil, she surprised, obviously. And Swiss Skydiver, I thought, was just being overlooked big time. You know what I mean? And I also think it's hard to judge a favorite's true potential when they've been dominating in races without much competition. I think Tiz the Law and Gamine both kind of had similar stories with that this year. Where in most of their races, they dominated. They didn't have any real competition. Most of them. I'm not going to say all their races, but most of them, I mean, they weren't really challenged. You know what I mean? I think you got to hold those reservations until they're actually up against some real competition. Then you'll see what they're made of, right? There's been previous years with different races of horses, obviously, depending on what race you're talking about, that were challenged previously before getting to that big stage, and then they were still able to perform. I felt Tiz really didn't have any challenges, any competition this year, and I thought the same for Gamine. And obviously, like I said, they looked fantastic, but it's like you know, if there's no challenges there, it's still kind of hard to see how they'll do against tougher horses. Or I should say against tough horses in general. I'm not saying tougher as in being better than them, but horses that are close to their level. That's a big deal. Her jockey did a bad job. Yeah, nobody really liked, yeah, I saw a lot of people talking about that on Twitter. I saw a lot of people talking about that, but I saw more people critiquing what's his face on Swiss Skydiver because he didn't go to the rail when it opened up. I saw a lot of people critique. I think I saw people critiquing him more than like I said, I'm just drawing blanks today. My mind is like pfft. Before I went live, I spent like 2 hours studying all these freaking medical and science terms and concepts. So my brain is just drawing blanks with names. Ironically, right now, you would think I'd be memorizing things better, but nope, it's not happening right now. But yeah, I think Swiss Skydiver potentially could have won if she was able to get to the inside when the rail was open. I think that kind of halted her momentum. She stayed with She Dares a Devil obviously till the end, but I think she could have taken the lead coming off of turns 3 and 4 if she had that inside position, and she didn't. Jockey definitely dropped the ball. Yeah, Gamine left the rail wide open. I was kind of confused. I'm like, I know I'm not a jockey. I will never pretend to know what you should or should not do. I'm just thinking just from a casual perspective. I'm like, the rail is open. I'm pretty sure you're supposed to probably hit that. I'm pretty sure you're supposed to get there, especially if it's open. If it's not there, it's not there. But if it's open, I'm pretty sure you're supposed to save ground. You know what I mean? Save a trip. Sometimes that's crucial for certain horses, getting that rail position, obviously. That's what was going through my head. And I'm like, well, obviously, you know, he's a good jockey. I'm sure he knows what he's doing. And maybe he just didn't think it was necessary. I don't know. I mean, none of us, unless he's came out and said it, I don't think any of us know what was going through his head, to be honest. I just know, I'm like, the rail was open. I was just confused why Swiss didn't go there. He didn't lead her there. It was weird. He got bumped around and lost. Yeah. That is true. Churchill's a tough track. I think people also forget that. Churchill is a very tough track. I mean, that's why, obviously, Derby and the Oaks are run there. Churchill is a very tough track. I would say more than others that the horses race on. Not all of them, but it's up there. Very, very long straights. The front and the back side, you know. It's a tough track for sure. It's definitely a tough track. That's a lot of things I think that obviously goes into a horse winning or performing well. I think sometimes people speak in too many certainties, and it's like it's horse racing. You can't speak in certainties because anything can literally happen. Anything can happen. You could be confident about your picks and everything, but you speaking in certainties as if it's a done deal, I think it's just silly. If you've been into the sport for a long time, you know anything could happen. So speaking in absolute certainties is like, it's a question mark for me. She could probably won if she took it. Yeah, I think so as well. I think so as well. But guys, I'm going to be heading out here. I just wanted to come live for a little bit and see what you guys' thoughts, obviously, on the Derby was. I've never done that before. I've really only talked about the Derby with family, like immediate family. So I wanted to do something a little bit different. Obviously, talk with those of you guys who have been supporters, obviously, of the channel. New video going live today. In fact, probably as soon as I get off here, I'll just post it. Because I said I was going to upload it today, and I don't want to upload it tomorrow. Tomorrow I may upload a video a little bit later, but I'm definitely going to upload a Gallop Racer video. 2004 will be uploaded, or I should say it will go public as soon as this live stream is over. It's about an hour and a half episode. I have to render and edit the other episode that I did. So that one will probably go live later tomorrow or Monday. But yeah, I appreciate you guys being here. It's always fun to talk horse racing as well as playing it, but more so to talk. Some of you guys, of course. It's always fun and very enjoyable. Gallop Racer 2001. Yep, it's coming back. Don't worry. I'm going to record it. What's today? Saturday? I'll probably record it Monday. Yeah, I'll record it Monday. And hopefully get that episode uploaded at the latest by Tuesday. Lightning, appreciate it. I know sometimes you're busy and can't always come around, but I appreciate you being here today. Missed having you here. Appreciate you guys. Much love. I will see you in the comments section of the next video, of course. Enjoy your evenings. I'll be live again sometime next week. I'm just really busy this month. I have to study for this big certification exam. So I'm not recording my Gallop Racer episodes, studying and training. So that takes up a lot of my time. So I would live stream more if I had that free time, but time that I would spend live streaming, I need to spend studying right now. But yeah, appreciate you guys. Much love. We'll see you, like I said, in the next video. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your evenings and the weekend.